45 degree angle. We looked at this a couple of lessons ago too. If this side is 1, then this side is 1 also because they have the same angle here, which means that their sides are the same length. Okay, and we've got the square root of 2 here if we use the Pythagorean theorem. Well, again, I need the hypotenuse to be 1 so that it can be the 1 in the radius of my circle. So I'm going to just divide by the square root of 2. This becomes 1, and then I can't have a radical in the denominator. So I have the square root of 2 over 2. This is times the square root of 2 over the square root of 2. So the square root of 2 over 2 should also be relatively familiar because that also was in the table. So the cosine of 45 degrees is the square root of 2 over 2, and the sine is the square root of 2 over 2. And let's put that in our circle. So we've got 1. This is the square root of 2 over 2. This is the square root of 2 over 2. Oops, I forgot the 2. So that means that this coordinate is the square root of 2 over 2, square root of 2 over 2. Remember again, this is my cosine and my sine. So cosine of 45 degrees, square root of 2 over 2. The sine of 45 degrees is the square root of 2 over 2. Okay, finally we have our 60 degree angle. These are the 3 main angles that we have in one coordinate besides 0 and 90. Okay, and this one is just kind of the cosine and sine are flipped from, they are exchanged from the 30 degree angle. And you can kind of see this x value looks about halfway. So this is 1/2. And then this piece right here, my y value, is the square root of 3 over 2. So here's my cosine, here's my sine. So the cosine of 60 degrees is 1/2. The sine of 60 degrees is the square root of 3 over 2. And if I put all of these triangles into one circle, this becomes 1/2 square root of 3 over 2. This is square root of 2 over 2 and the square root of 2 over 2. And this is the square root of 3 over 2 and 1/2. Okay, and this is a portion of our unit circle. So this right here is the unit circle. You probably can't see it that well, but this shows us all the angles, all the radians that are associated with those angles, and their coordinates. Okay, and this again, remember, this is when our radius is 1. Okay, so we've got this unit circle. Another thing to remember is that you're going to see 1/2 and the square root of 3 over 2 and the square root of 2 over 2 everywhere. But sometimes they're positive, sometimes they're negative. So this is just an acronym. All students take calculus, okay, starting with the second quadrant, first quadrant, second, third, fourth. A stands for all. That means that all of our coordinates are positive. Okay, S over here stands for sine. This means our sine or our y values are positive, but that means that cosine's negative. And that makes sense because look, our y value is positive, our x value is negative, so it makes sense that x would be negative. Down here, T stands for tangent, because tangent, this is what I wanted to come back to over here. Remember that y is the same thing as sine, and x is the same thing as cosine, so tangent of theta is the sine of theta over the cosine of theta. And it is critical that you know that. Very, very important. And if that's the case, then if our sine is divided by our cosine, we've got a negative over a negative, and that becomes positive. So tangent of this quadrant is all positive. But just remember, this quadrant they're both positive. This quadrant, both of the coordinates are negative. And over here, our cosine is positive, and that makes sense because this is the positive side of the x-axis, this is the negative side of the y-axis. Okay, so I've got this unit circle that needs to be filled in, but I've decided that I'm going to make that on a totally separate video. So I'm going to just go and do that and just show you kind of some tricks on how to remember how to do it. This quadrant right here is going to be on the test, so you're going to have that memorized. The other 3 quadrants are extra credit, so you're going to want to pay special attention to this quadrant. But I am going to do that in the next video, in a different video. But if you've got any questions on any of this, just let me know.